gentlemen, Gungans and Druids, all you Kiadi Mundi Coneheads, we are RTBing as we speak right now. And we have the final AHN on the go episode for this leg of our trip of touching grass here. My friends, I successfully touched plenty of grass and I'm still in one piece. So take a memo. Anytime RNGs is being mean to you, you're not getting that extra shard drop, touch some grass. Everything will be better, my friends. I promise you that. Just like this, for example. Take a look. Over here today in AHN on the Holland News, the only news you'll ever do because you have no other choice. We got some great news, my friends. We are finally getting all of the beautiful kit details for our first Dark Side Clone Trooper. I had to pinch myself several times. I still can't believe they're doing this, and they're doing it the right way, like they should have many years ago. But you know what? The motto for CEG is not that they share one laptop. Better late than never is the motto we like to use for capital games nowadays, and I can't be mad. But what I'm seeing here next week, we are getting the first character for us to test, CC-1119 Appo. Ooh, man, I can't explain how much in a good mood. And when it comes to these characters, it's like, you know, of course you go through all these motions and stars like, oh, that's cool, that's cool. This is the really cool stuff. This is Star Wars at the end of the day. Come on, people, come on. It's hard to have a bad day in the Star Wars lane. Am I right here? All right, people, I want to go through a few things here. There's good news and bad news. Good news, respectfully so, CC-1119 has the Clone Trooper tag. Can we clap it up? They remember the Clone Trooper tags to actual Clone Troopers out there. We also have the Attacker Empire tag. Holy cow, we're getting the Empire tag too. We know CG likes to be stingy with tags. You know, I think the problem is when you're balancing a game and all the factions of Star Wars, there's oftentimes there's issues probably with game balancing. And you might be noticing there's one glaring omission here. There's no 501st tag, so we were this close to getting everything we wanted with the tags in this kit. They kind of explain a little bit about why we're not getting the 501st tag, and I actually want to go through all this because it's kind of in my interpretation. It's kind of like an admittance that, yeah, we kind of did this the wrong way, but I'm reading between the lines. So let's go take a look at it. Designed to create strong synergy with other Dark Side Clone Troopers under Galactic Legend Lord Vader. Oh, I forgot to add, we're going to go over the relic requirement. Yeah, relic requirement for Jedi Master Mace Windu. Doesn't look like this is going to be a very generous event like Jedi Knight Cal Kestis, for example. So let's keep going. Dark Side Clone Troopers and Lord Vader will gain dramatic entrance at the start of the encounter. This is mostly like a fleet, ship type of buff, right? Providing opening damage before Lord Vader ramps up. Wow. It's like we've been complaining that Lord Vader takes 5 ever, not 4 ever, 5 ever, to finally build up the courage to get a little bit of damage out there. Wow, it's like we were right about this, huh? Let's just keep reading. Has the ability to dispel all buffs from all enemies as well as instantly trigger damage over time effects. Wow, we were like saying the damage over time doesn't really feel very meaningful. Better late than never, right? Let's keep going, though. We also have Appo fully heals at the start of the battle, meaning this squad is extremely tricky to whittle down in GAC and TW. This is sort of like, you know, how to put it? It's kind of in a way like Gungans, for example. Like you work a little bit on a generator, but if you don't fully deplete it, then the generator, or you don't kill a boss NAS, the generator just comes back, kind of making you start from scratch, making it difficult to do tactical multi-shots. You know, sometimes you bring in Fennec Shand, you might get majority people, I might get like the Maul out, you know, the Piat Vader, and you might be stuck at the very end with 1 or 2 members. This makes it a little bit more difficult to get that cleanup. And I kind of want to, I normally skip over the inspiration, but I kind of want to bring it up because this is really a complete rebuild of the Lord Vader team. It's just, you know, it feels good to be right sometimes. I mean, I'm never right about this game, right? Always wrong, but let's just keep going. Appo's been with Anakin since the early days of the Clone Wars, advancing through the ranks to eventually lead the 501st Legion. He played a key role in assisting Lord Vader during the attack on the Jedi Temple, and that event called Operation Nightfall inspired much of this kit. Lord Vader marching into the temple with his clone troopers alongside him is one of the most impactful moments in Revenge of the Sith and Star Wars in general, not just Revenge of the Sith. This inspired us to put Appo into the Nightfall-style Phase 2 clone trooper armor worn by all clones in that scene. I can't tell you how many times me and my brother, we reenacted like all of Revenge of the Sith, like one line by line. This cinematic moment is also why Appo and company get dramatic entrance under Lord Vader, which makes sense. They kind of made, I guess you could say, a dramatic entrance into the Jedi Temple. And then check this out. Each of the ability names refer to the aspects of Order 66, Imperial March, and Fallen Anakin's march into the Jedi Temple. Nightfall, the code name for the operation of exterminating the Jedi in the temple that evening. No witnesses. Appo and the company's attempt to stop Bail Organa from escaping Vader's fist, the nickname of the 501st under Darth Vader's command. I'm hoping we get Bail Organa one of these days. I don't think we're going to get him with this batch of stuff, but I know Bail Organa has been in the rumor mill, it's been in the speculation, wish list for a long time. And let's read all these strategy tips, then we'll get to the kit reveal here. Order 66 is an important debuff combining buff immunity and the inability to be revived. Time your use of Special 2 accordingly. Kind of a big deal. Again, I'm looking at, for example, bounty hunters, or for example, Bo-Katan Mandalore. They got like a revive. Mando can revive in a bounty hunter lineup. Bo-Katan's got a revive when she's in Grand Arena. Got all the Omicron shenanigans. So having another way to stop revives, it's going to make things a little bit more difficult. Special 1 can stealth an ally dark side clone trooper. Which remember, we have several more. 3 more coming if I recall correctly. And where was I at? Which is an important mechanic in Disguise Clone Trooper's kit. And then summon in a Nightfall Trooper at the start of the battle, and the effect of Operation Nightfall acts as sort of endless ranks, giving you 3 Nightfall Troopers over the course of a battle. And they do a little FAQ here to kind of give some more context to some of this stuff. Coruscant Commander makes Lord Vader extremely hard to counter if you are bringing anything less than a galactic legend. People, we were right. And anyone who disagrees with us, we know whether they're wrong, right? Lord Failure, there's a reason why we give those names. Yeah, it's kind of funny. It's got a little panache, a little bit of drama, kind of gets people excited out there. But there is a reason behind the season, my friends, why he had that nickname. It just felt like he was one of the cheapest galactic legends to really beat, or multi-shot, something of that nature. I never felt threatened going up against the Lord Vader unless there's like some bonker datacron that 120% evasion. Okay, yeah, we might have a hard time landing a hit on the guy, right? Well, this is what we're looking for, a complete rebuild of the team. And I want to read this too. So how do you acquire him? It's going to be a marquee event next week, April 8th, 11 a.m. Pacific. Don't you worry, our video game division is going to be fully operational this season. And I know we got to wait a little bit maybe for all the clones to really make a difference for Lord Vader, but since we have the Empire tag, Clone Trooper tag, maybe there's other stuff we can see. He's going to be required at Relic 5 for Jedi Mace Windu, so if you were hoping, I saw a lot of hopeful people like, oh, it's going to be like Jedi Calcast's Gear 12. Okay, you're going to need a little bit more than that. It's going to be a more up there. It's kind of, I guess, more akin to maybe a Jar Jar Binks Legendary event with our Grand Inquisitor, higher relic requirements, right? And then we have a bespoke datacron, so pretty much similar to, for example, Hunter Mercenary. We had for one for, did Balin Skull have one? I can't remember. Padawan Obi-Wan Kenobi, so predetermined datacron that you're going to get if you wail on the character right away. And then, check this out. They're telling us they're going to be retweaking Lord Vader's abilities a little bit. Lord Vader's also gets bonus damage if a debuffed ally unaligned force user receives damage. Well, they basically told us they're trying to free up whatever's in there already. If the 4 dark side clone troopers are meant to replace the current Lord Vader lineup, how fast can he get to alt it? Well, they're going to update his kit to include, not remove unaligned forces, but to include dark side clone troopers alongside the UFUs on top of that, so allowing him to get that ultimate charge moving a lot faster. Let's just keep going though. And here you go. This is a big, this is them. They're like, all right, maybe we didn't hit those bad batch, numbers for sales. This is why you want to click Appo and the other dark side clones. If you own or are looking to own Lord Vader, Appo and the other dark side clones are designed to work with him as a full squad. This is going to free up other high value members currently in the Lord Vader lineup. Maul, Piet, probably the 2 that are like, I kind of wish I'd rather use them somewhere else. Well, now they're giving us that flexibility. I can't wait to feel. I always felt guilty using Maul with Lord Vader. It just didn't feel good. Like Commander Tano, it's like, she's not as plug and play as like maybe plug and play is not the right word. I just don't really use her as much. I don't really see as much value using her out of a Jedi Master Kenobi line. There is a lot of value to be had of Maul outside of a Lord Vader line, but Lord Vader fought Maul. It's like, what are we doing here? I'm happy we're doing that. However, it makes me wonder, am I gonna basically waste a Relic 9 on like the Royal Guard? Some people may be invested highly into things like that. Time's gonna tell. Maybe they'll find a way to make Royal Guard useful everywhere else. Because remember, Royal Guard, he got reworked way back when. Really good, then eventually kind of fell into obsolescence. And it's like, you kind of want to get use out of it. It'd feel bad if I have a Relic 9 that just became useless. So we have to wait and see about that. But furthermore, hold on. If you don't own Lord Vader, Grand Moff Tarkin can be used as a leader for these clones and will be receiving a touch in the future. point during the era to support this. Hallelujah. Kind of weird because Tarkin kind of hated clones last I recall, but why we go into the details like that? Dark side clones under Tarkin will be usable in this upcoming raid. We talked about that as well. It's kind of weird. The requirements for this raid are a bit weird. The Bad Batch version 2 are going to be required. It feels like they kind of shoehorned that in there. Like, we're going to just do it because, well, we didn't get to use them for what we wanted to last era. Doesn't really make sense to have the version 2 Bad Batch to be a requirement for the raid. Maybe version 1 Bad Batch, I could get down with that, but obviously it doesn't make sense from a financial standpoint. And then Lord Vader not being used in this raid, a little weird, yeah. Anyways. Moving on here. The Nightfall battle will run twice every week. So this is like kind of a temporary assault battle thing. We'll run twice every other week while we release dark side clones, and then once every other week for a short while after. This will be a challenging series of encounters with great rewards to test your mettle of your dark side clones. And then all the dark side clones and Jedi Vanguards will be required to play the legendary event to unlock Jedi Master Mace Windu, which we know about at the end of the era. Will be key in the upcoming raid. And then why doesn't Appo the 501st tag right here? In order to work alongside 501st clone troopers, Appo's abilities will have to be rebalanced to a point where it no longer made him work with Lord Vader. And this is why I said sometimes lore, respecting that and also doing game balance, this is kind of them explaining some things, why they don't give like a rebel tag to Giant Luke, or why Enoch did not get an Empire tag or Imperial Trooper tag, things of that nature. It's like sometimes they're going to clash, and it seems like they're going to kind of err more on the side of game balance. But let me finish reading it. Basically, Appo's abilities would have to be rebalanced to a point where it no longer made him work as well with Lord Vader. Sometimes flavor is the victim of game balance. While we considered an Order 66 or Nightfall attack with his clones, the blanket catch-all dark side clone trooper accomplished the synergies we are looking for. So a lot of stuff to go over here. Basically, yeah, they kind of address some things. Damage over time just didn't feel that important. Lord Vader's initial damage before he ramps up was just like pitiful. It took him you had to hit auto, and hit the pray that in 5 minutes, it's enough to get things done. So they're kind of telling us we're rebuilding the lineup. This is why you're going to want them. They're going to be great for the raid. It's going to be a new era for Lord Vader. And you know what? Again, what's the phrase? People say it with me. Better late than never. Let's go take a look at the abilities now. Basic Imperial March. Oh, already starting off strong. Deal physical damage to target enemy and grant defense penetration up for 2 turns to the strongest ally that didn't already have it. During Appo's turn, you're going to call all other attacker allies with defense penetration up to assist. Keep in mind, it didn't say all attacker clone allies. All attacker allies. I wonder what tag Lord Vader has. Oh, right! Silly me. He's an attacker! Keep going, people! Special 1, Nightfall. Dispel all buffs and all enemies. Big, big, big right there. Deal physical damage to that. Yeah, gosh. Don't get me started on that. It's like another problem that Lord Vader had, like taunts. Kind of really get in his way. Well, we have more ways to try to work around them. Deal physical damage to target enemy and stun them for 1 turn. Then call a random dark side clone trooper ally to support. Well, we need to wait to see those support allies. So this doesn't make too much sense right now. Of course, we have other support. Actually, yeah, we had none. We have support clone troopers, not dark side clone trooper support. So TBD, put a pin in it. We'll have to figure out what that means later on. The ally that assists stealths at the end of Appo's turn of 1 turn. Appo Nightfall Trooper gain critical damage up for 2 turns. All right, we're trying to rack up that damage, but hold on. We have special 2. No witnesses. Oh man, I don't know. I feel like a kid again looking at all these animations for the clones. It's like this was that cool moment watching Star Wars for me. It's just baked into my memory seeing it for the first time. It was wild, man. Deal physical damage and trigger all stacks of damage over time on all enemies. Yes. The funny thing is, it doesn't look like it cleanses, so you're basically kind of double dipping on damage over time. So when an enemy takes tournament damage over time, they're being triggered, but also you can kind of prematurely trigger them as well. Nightfall Trooper assists and gains advantage for 2 turns if Lord Vader is the ally in the leader slot and the target enemy has 8 or more stacks of damage over time. Inflict Order 66 on the target enemy for 2 turns, which can't be copied, dispelled, evaded, resisted. What does Order 66 do? Well, scroll down along with me. Immune to buffs and can't be revived if defeated. Immune to buffs. So it's basically a pre-baked buff immunity in this. And also not being able to revive, that's a big deal. Very big deal. And then we have this unique ability, Vader's Fist. Whew, man, buckle in. I hope you guys like to read. Holy mazzacholi. Dark side clone trooper allies gain 5 speed for each enemy excluding summons at the start of battle, doubled for each Jedi and light side unaligned Force user enemies. And if all allies are Empire, you summon a Nightfall Trooper into the ally slot. Yes, can I read that again? You're going to summon a Nightfall Trooper into the ally slot. Oh my gosh. Lord Vader with the spawn wheel. It's like, wait, they're talking about Star Wars and Revenge of the Sith. Wait, they got the message, people. Oh my gosh, an army of clones coming to completely wreck you. Well, let's keep reading. While an allied Nightfall Trooper is active, Appo's going to get 50% extra offense. Whenever an enemy is defeated, reduce the cooldown of no witnesses by 1. And at the start of his turn, Appo dispels foresight on all enemies. Then enemies who had foresight dispelled this way, they're going to get exposed for 2 turns. I'm not sure if this is evaded or resistible. It doesn't say it, so I'm assuming it could be evaded or resisted. I don't know. Anyways, at the start of the encounter, if the ally in the leader slot is Lord Vader and all other allies are dark side clone troopers, so keep in mind, this is basically saying there can't be an unaligned force. All the other allies need to be dark side clone troopers. So it really seems like they're trying to tell them all right, buddy, go have fun. we're releasing you from this curse you've been stuck with for the past several years. But anyways, if the ally leader side Lord Vader and all other allies are dark side clone troopers, and there are no enemy galactic legends, keyword, no enemy galactic legends, so they're kind of tapering this down a little bit if there is one. Appo gains Coruscant Commander until the first time he's defeated until the end of the encounter, and we're going to check that out here in a minute. And if the allied leader slot Lord Vader and all other allies are dark side clone troopers, at the start of it, Appo recovers 100% health and protection. This is the making it difficult to clean up. So let's say you're trying to work him down. You got him to 1% health. Nope, he's going back to 100% health and protection, making you start over from scratch again. And at the start of the encounter, allied Lord Vader and dark side clone trooper allies gain dramatic entrance for 2 turns, which can't be dispelled. I believe dramatic entrance, Vader's got it right. Poe Dameron, I know I'm talking about the ships. I think Second Sister's got it. It's not a very common thing. Those, I think, the 3, I might be missing some, but I believe for characters, is there a character that has it? I think this might be new, because sometimes they'll take a mechanic that's inside ships and they'll bring it over to the other side, to the character side of things. And then we have Territory Battle, Omicrons. You guys know my opinion on this. Territory Battle, in my opinion, is more of a function of the relics more so than the Omicrons, because most teams, they're pretty good, especially newer teams, they're pretty good in territory battles. Let's not get too much into the weeds of it all, but if you're interested in this, well, let's take a little peek, shall we? While in territory battles, at the start of the battle, Appo gains 50% max health, max protection, tenacity. At the start of the battle, inflict Order 66 on all enemies for 2 turns, which can't be copied, dispelled, evaded, or resisted. Whenever Appo scores a critical hit, gains 25% offense, stacking for the rest of the encounter. Then whenever a Nightfall Trooper is defeated, inflict a death mark on the strongest enemy for 1 turn. Now, this could be a catch-22 here. If you put death mark on, let's say, I mean, you're in territory battles, right? So you're not going to come across. I know there's Jedi Master Kenobis, but that's for the Reva mission. So I guess this kind of makes sense in the territory battle situation. In Grand Arena, it would make too much sense. What if you apply it on Jedi Master Kenobi? It doesn't, in that version, doesn't really do us much good. But anyways, continuing. At the start of his turn, if an enemy is disarmed, inflict 2 stacks of damage over time on all enemies for 1 turn. Disarm. So am I missing something? I think we might be probably getting another clone trooper that's going to be applying disarm, if I had to guess. Inflict 2 stacks of damage over time on all enemies for 1 turn. While Appo has dramatic entrance, whenever he deals damage to a target enemy, they are stunned for 1 turn, which can't be resisted. That's great. That's great here. And then we have the Coruscant Commander. What do you get with this? It feels like they're sort of like Combat Carl with the Mon Mothma, Luthen, and whatnot. You kind of get a variety of bonuses depending on what tier you're at. This character can't be defeated if there's an active allied Lord Vader. Oh man, so that basically means you got to take out Lord Vader before you take out him. Oh man, because generally you kind of knock everyone else out and then you go for Lord Vader at the end, because again, it just for me, it's like generally he's kind of ignorable. It's usually gonna watch out for the Piet, the Maul, the Darth Vader. Those are always the high priority targets inside of Grand Arena, for example. Then Operation Nightfall, whenever a Nightfall Trooper is defeated, remove 1 stack of Operation Nightfall from Appo and then summon a Nightfall Trooper. Kind of give me a little bit of the Luthen Rail vibes. When you kill off the Rebel Trooper, he just brings another one out. And then design a dramatic entrance, in case you need a reminder. 25+% offense. Deal bonus true damage equal to 10% of the target's max health, which can't be evaded. And you gain 20% turn and dramatic entrance for 2 turns if this unit defeats an enemy. Oh, my friends, my friends. This just puts me in a good mood. It's, yes, we could say, yeah, we were right as a community. Yeah, Lord Vader, he needed help. It just, whatever they did, it missed the mark big time. This kind of slightly gives us confirmation of that. But even aside from that, just like, this is what we wanted. Yes, it's 4 years in the making. I'm hoping it's going to be better than what we currently have. But at the minimum, in my brain, it just feels thematically better. Like, having Maul with Lord Vader, again, this game doesn't need to adhere to lore 1-to-1. I mean, look at the beginning parts of this game. When the game first started, you had some wild stuff, Poe, Dameron, to Poggle. So it's not like we need to have that cohesion. But for whatever reason, Lord Vader, when people were asking it for years and years and years, they wanted this. They wanted what they saw in that kit reveal image of Lord Vader and a bunch of clones behind him. And people were finally building up to it today. This is going to be the start of the journey. We have to wait a little bit longer to get the full new Lord Vader lineup. But I'm hoping in the meantime we can maybe do some things. I'm worried that there's a lot of dark side clone trooper specifics in here, a lot of Lord Vader specifics. I don't know if we're going to get a ton with using them in the clone troopers and maybe the Empire lines, but people, that's what we're going to have to find out in our testing next week. But that's going to wrap it up today, my friends, for AHN Arnold HoloNet News. The only news you'll ever need, my friends, because you have no other choice. Thank you so much for watching this video. Glad you've been enjoying the AHN on the Go series. I was not expecting you guys to enjoy the Mountain Grand Arena stream video that we did as much, but you guys are the best. Thank you so much for being a part of my journey here, and I'll see you back in the biggest and deadliest Star Destroyer, where we're open 25/8 for that one extra hour, one extra day of partying hard. And always remember, it's great to be in the Empire today.